Hi, hi
Good
everybody.
morning, everyone, and welcome to the Mad LiberTEA Party. Thank you for joining us for another Mad Coffee Time. Today, as always, well, I don't want to say always because I haven't been here for 3 days, but today we
Today,
have the
it's just
lovely
me.
Mike, and then, of course, we have me. So we'll have people that watch us now because, I mean, of course, I mean, look at me.
It's about me. It's actually your books. It's those beautiful
Yeah,
books. Did you get a new house, dude? I Wow, you are
yeah, I've
moving up in the world.
been yeah, I've been saving a lot. All this FBI money. I mean, all this
It's
Bitcoin. All this Bitcoin has really got me up there.
really
And this
paying
is this
out.
is a real this is a real leather chair back here and everything, handmade. It's great. It's Italian leather, made out of
God damn,
Italians.
made out of Italians. Don't
Yeah.
tell, you know who. That'll upset him. but
Um, um, yeah, thank
yeah,
you guys for joining us. If you guys enjoy what you see, please like and subscribe. Check us out on the other social media outlets. If you'd like to buy us some coffee, because coffee is expensive, uh, hit up our coin tree, and we have a whole bunch of
and
different
we're
ways you
drinking
can
a
help
lot
us out with
more of
that.
it now.
Yeah. But yeah, every little bit helps, goes a long way. Mike and I are doing this all out of pocket, other than the FBI money that we get. And yeah, but today, what we're going to be
I'm
talking
still
about.
waiting on those CIA weapons deals.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get AKs eventually. Maybe some Stinger missiles, all that good stuff. Whatever to get rid of the communist.
Weapons
Um,
of mass destruction.
yeah. Today, if you guys didn't notice, what we're going to be talking about is a little bit of pedophilia. I don't know if you guys understood this from the last couple episodes, but we're not a big fan. As controversial as that might be, yeah, we don't like pedophiles in the slightest. And me personally, I think they should be thrown into a wood chipper or a pedo chipper, which we should have a commercial for that up soon, I believe. We got this new model of pedo chipper coming out, and it's top quality. But yeah,
Yes, I'm about to fix that upload problem of mine.
well, that is good. But specifically, Mike and I are going to be talking a little bit about our experiences through World of Warcraft and using that as an example to some of the adults on here that have children, um, so they can kind of understand just like how deep and unassuming this type of stuff can go. For those of you that don't know, Mike and I actually met through World of Warcraft, and we took uh, our friendship and that kind of became what we've got
In a
now.
really weird direction.
But yeah, do you want to start that off,
Well,
Mike?
yeah, and I mean, like, this isn't the first time we've talked about running across things like that in WoW, but we've never really actually just sat down and talked about it. It's always been a passing thing on a different topic, where we couldn't sit down and talk about it. But like, and I've seen it's not like we're the only people that are talking about this, but it's not enough. Like the last time I saw a big stink about pedophilia in gaming was like almost a year ago. And then before that it was like when I guess Anonymous was like hitting up Half-Life pages and or groups and shit like servers and shit like that. But like um, I think like a year or so ago, it was a huge focus on Fortnite, and games like that. But um, it's really not contained to just one game. It really isn't. And even though we're gonna focus more on WoW here, like I've played a shit ton of games, and they've been like online gaming. It creates an online community, and anywhere people gather, that's where they're gonna fucking be. Especially if there are kids there, especially if there are unattended kids there. And I want to kind of start this out just to like lay grounds here because like uh, I don't know how people just imagine. I guess because your kid's in the other room inside the house, they're safe, in your brain, everything's cool. But like, it almost feels like there's a lot of kids out there that like I would run across because like I was always a little older. Um, that were like basically didn't have any fucking parents. Like they had them, but they just weren't fucking there and shit. And so like there's nobody fucking looking out for these people except for obviously like the communities that form and shit. And it's it's just not enough because like even when we would go to report these things, they wouldn't like nothing would happen most of the times unless you could get a huge wave of people to do it. And even if you reported them, I mean that just got rid of them. It didn't, I mean it moved them. It didn't do anything about it, you know? And so, like, I just want you to know that, like, you can't let your kids be raised by your computers and by their computer games and shit like that because there are people on the other side of that shit all the time now. It's not like when I was a kid. You know, it'd take 50 years to send a nude to somebody. I don't think it was very practical.
Yeah, no, that doesn't sound great.
Yeah, we had to go uphill both ways, barefoot, just to get a fucking bitmap.
A bitmap.
But I mean, like, I as an adult, I saw it from one way. Like, I ended up having a guild, and there were kids and teenagers and adults in this guild, and in these guilds because there were several of them, rating and RP. But like, it was amazing how many kids just didn't have any fucking adult figures, and they would like find adult figures in these communities, and sometimes that was good, but most of the time it was like some fucking moron, you know, who wanted to teach people. It wasn't just pedophiles. There were like literal Nazi groups and shit out there. It was fucking crazy. You can do some really innocuous shit behind the idea of role play. Gaming and rating and all this stuff that's gotten a high focus, it really, they haven't actually, I haven't seen anybody talk about how much of a hot spot the role play communities are.
Oh yeah.
You know, you get a bunch of fucking adults that are, you get kids that are curious and stuff like that, but you get adults that don't have anything better to do with their lives than fucking write a bunch of shit. And I'm not even gonna joke, like I'm kind of shit talking my past self when I was like kind of trying to take a break from the world and stuff like that. I literally just didn't have anything better to do with my life at the time other than to play pretend, and that creates all sorts of fucking weird and toxic environments, to be honest.
Yeah. I think we were both kind of doing the same thing. We were just doing it at two different points in time.
And you'd be surprised because, like, a lot of time, I don't know, like, a lot of time people assume that it's like the creepy old dude who's like pretending to be a cute little girl or something that's all fat and scary. But, like, more often than not, I was having to chase grown women away from young boys and
It
young
was
girls.
it was very common that like divorcees would be doing this type of shit. Like I don't know
Yeah.
if they were just looking for the what do you call it? Gratification of it, I
Or,
guess.
well, I found a bunch of unhappy housewives going after a bunch of my boys and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it
so it
was
wasn't just
usually it was
divorcees,
like
but like,
someone that was divorced or like, you know, an unhappy housewife, that type of shit. And I think it had a lot to do with them trying to find the approval of it, so to speak.
yeah, more often than not, if it was a dude, he was creating some sort of cult of personality
Yeah,
around himself,
that
and he
was
had
really common.
multiple females around him, and
Like a
like some
harem
were
going on.
adult and some were young, and he would like use the adult females to bring in younger females and other new females and shit like that. That was really common. But like
Yeah,
the chicks were more innocuous about it. They would work it by themselves, or they would have like a group of chicks that hung out together and they would just like attract confused young men and ladies into their weird shit.
yeah,
And yeah, like we were constantly having to keep an eye on these kids and they didn't have their parents paying attention, and they would be having like I would come around, you know, and be like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm erping." And I'm like, "Oh my god, why? No, no, you shouldn't do that on here. Um You're like fucking 15. Who the fuck are you erping with?" And they're like, "Oh, this chick." And I'm like, "That woman is like fucking almost 40. And they're doing like explicit sexual role plays with fucking kids and shit like that. And it doesn't just stop there. Like they will lure them to give them information and stuff like that. Like I've
Yeah.
actually had situations where females have shown up at my guild members' houses and stuff like that, or well, or in their neighborhoods or whatever and stuff like that. It's gotten pretty bad. Stalkers are really heavy out there because like people who get heavily involved in these things, sometimes they can't see reality very well, which I guess if you have a fucking penchant for dicking with children, is a real bad place to be, you know?
Yeah.
Especially
Um,
since a lot of these kids are playing adult characters, but they're not doing adult things. They're just like swashbuckling and pretending to be zombies and scourge things and shit, you know?
yeah, normal scourge things.
Yeah, I mean, like our guild, we wrote some really in-depth stories and stuff, and it was kind of darker and more grown up, but we were really picky. By the time we got that way, we were like, okay, no kids. At this point, we write about like assassins and dark grisly shit, so no kids anymore. But like that was close to the end. Before that, there were young people in and out of the groups all the time. Just and I felt like we were constantly having to watch out for the cult of personality dudes. Um,
Yeah,
they would sweep in and then they would get reported and they would disappear, but then they would make new
they
accounts
would
and
come
shit like
back.
that.
Yeah,
And they would start on other they would either bounce to another server and then come back later, you know what I mean? Or they would
yeah.
just come back with a new persona. And the thing is, like, Blizzard wasn't doing anything about these people. Like,
Well,
if you think that you
because
can report them, you can, but they aren't gonna fucking
yeah, they're just gonna make a new account or something like that.
yeah.
Like
And
that was
I
not an app comment or abnormal rather.
no, the only thing that there was to do was to like get as much as you could together and then dox the shit out of them, basically. And that's what
Yeah.
people did. I mean, like that's literally what people did. And I'm not gonna lie, I participated. I fucking participate in 50 bazillion of those doxings because like it was right there on the table. And like unfortunately, you can't reach into the pixels and rip somebody through it and fucking throw them feet first, in a fucking wood chipper, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So, you just pass it off to somebody who can find them, return them over or whatever. And I mean, there were so many of them that never fucking got stopped. Not as
Oh
like
yeah.
never ever. Like I know some of them that are still out there now and I don't know how to get enough information on them to do anything about it.
Yeah.
Working on that though.
Yeah, I have my own experiences with that type of stuff. Whenever I was like 16 or so, I believe, maybe 16 or 15, I can't remember. Anyway,
Yeah, you had your own experiences because you started as a kid. So like
yeah, it was a fun time. Um, Anyway, long story short, I'm for those of you that don't know, I'm super antisocial. So this is kind of the scary part about all of it is it's like there's not a lot of people that I was talking to. I was kind of more enjoying the game, like physically enjoying the game at this point in time, and there I didn't have a lot of people I spoke to, didn't not have a lot of friends, anything like that. And the last thing I was doing was talking about real life because that was kind of the whole point of this was trying to avoid that. And it was kind of in my circle at least, it was kind of taboo to talk about that. Like you got on, you joked around, played the game, and made plans, but it all was around the actual game itself. So very rarely were we asking questions. I think at most people knew about how old I was, and that was relatively common because a lot of the people I was playing with were also children, or at least what we assumed to be children. And that's kind of a whole
yeah.
other thing. Is a lot of the times what people will do because you don't have that face to face. It's much easier to lie to children and convince them. So it's very, very common that they'll tell you or tell your children that they're the same age as them and stuff like that. That's why it's very important not to share your
Mhm.
age. At the time, didn't really think that much of it because, of course, not. But anyway, so somehow or another, with that information in hand, um, someone found out where I lived, and I guess had been stalking me online, and flew from New York to try to visit me at my house, all the way from fucking New York. So I mean, that's kind of the level of crazy that you're potentially dealing with here. This is
Yeah.
an individual that
And you were
spent,
15?
like,
Six?
yeah, somewhere around there, yeah,
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
yeah. Like, this isn't even just like a toddler's problem. This is just people get this idea in their head, and crazy people get this idea in their head that, oh yeah, this is, the person I'm supposed to be with. And I mean, we've all heard the horror stories, and unfortunately those are real things that, are happening. That is something that happens. It is not abnormal. There's just crazy people out there.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that whole they'll I've heard like a lot of times there like, there would be groups of people that would talk people into like giving them pictures and stuff of themselves, and then they would start blackmailing them with them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that happened a lot. Someone that I actually thought was a friend did that type of stuff. We actually uh, were involved with an investigation with the Blizzard team. Blizzard, like, it was bad enough that Blizzard actually stepped up and started doing things. Um, but apparently, in our uh, chat logs that he was talking to me, he had mentioned that he was getting picture from women, and they were using that as evidence because the women he was talking to were like 16, 17-year-old girls. So, yeah, that's great.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it was a good
Uh,
time.
yeah, no, there's been some really bad situations. Like I came across a group. This dude basically had like three adult women that were like gathering teenagers, and like they were basically grooming young teenagers, like 15-year-old girls and stuff, into their groups and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, it got so bad that the community itself had to like run them off and shit like that. And there was, of course, doxing involved and stuff. But like, it's just you'd think that the fucking Blizzard community would do something more about it. They're real fast to jump in when you say something bad about Hong Kong, but when somebody's trying to diddle your kids, they're strangely fucking absent for the most part.
I feel like it's a whole other legal battle that they have to deal with. I think that's the
I
main
don't
reason,
care.
which
I
isn't
mean,
that
like, I
I'm not
get it, but I
arguing for
don't
their
care.
efficacy. I'm just saying that is probably their thought process behind it.
I mean, possibly, but if that's all they give a shit about, then I mean, like, people are giving them too much money. Like, I quit giving them money when they fucking dicked with the Hong Kong people.
That's what a lot of
Um,
people should have done, but no, here we are.
well, I mean, and some people did. A lot of people said they were going to, but now they're playing the game again, you know?
Yeah,
And I mean, there was a big uh push for people to be aware of the pedophilia in the gaming world back, I don't know, about this time last year, I think.
mm-hmm.
I feel like it was about this time last year, and everybody seems to have just like kind of forgotten it because I don't really see a lot of people talking about it that much anymore. But I'm still hearing stories from young people who have had some really fucking weird experiences in the gaming world.
Right.
And because still, even like, like even now, people are not fucking taking care of their kids, and they show up and talk to me about about weird shit that fucking happens to them.
Yeah.
I'm like, by the way, could y'all like raise your kids? That'd be really cool, okay?
I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to is, and then this is a big reason why I'm such a big advocate for traditionalism is people
I
just
don't feel
aren't
like you
raising
have to
their
be a
kids.
traditionalist to raise your kids, you
I think
know?
it comes with the territory, though.
Well, maybe, sure. Like, I just don't think that, I think that you can raise your kids and not be trad, like,
I'm sure it's possible. I just don't. I just think I'm better at you. It's fine. just what it comes down to.
Fucking asshole. Of
Yeah.
course you do. I mean, I hate to sound preachy and everything like that, but really, all of this could be overcome if you just pay more attention to what's going on with your kids and who your kids you're talking to online. There does come a time when you have to let the fucking training wheels go, take the training wheels off and let go of them. But when they're still living in your house and they're young, you really need to be careful with them. Just because they're in the other room doesn't mean they're fucking safe.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Sigh. Uh this gets me all fucking cranky because like I remember having to deal with this on such a regular basis that like it was the beginning of me beginning to realize that it wasn't like when I was younger I thought that this kind of shit was didn't happen a lot. But as
Oh,
I started to get older and I started to end up having like younger people around me and shit, I started like that I was protective of and everything, like little brothers and sisters or whatever. Uh, I started realizing that holy shit, this is fucking happening like all the goddamn time.
yeah.
It started kind of red pilling me on this situation, and I don't even know. I may be fucking black pilled at this point. Like I don't know if we can there's no way to fucking fix this without literally just burning down half of Babylon, if in my opinion, at this point.
I
Burn like burn down Hollywood like we found a spider in it.
preaching to the choir.
And Broadway too. And a lot of other shit. It's just people are just allowing it because of convenience and money and greed. It's disgusting. And the bad thing is that like it became easier for these people be under the wing of people trying to be like cool to each other because it became easier for people to hide their identities when it became societally rude to ask because like people would treat people differently if they were playing a character of like the different sex or a different age group or something like that, so they couldn't actually play their character right because people would like be a dick to them, right?
Right.
So people stopped like asking because it would be considered rude or whatever. And
Right.
so then it became fucking easier for them to like slide under the fucking radar. Were you around when that happened, or did you come around after that was already a thing, or
No, yeah, that was an after thing. As in, I
yeah,
was
because
here whenever that happened.
Because I remember a time when nobody fucking cared. Like people would just tell you if you were a chick or a dude. But then it became like this big sexism thing and all this other shit. And it was a pain in the ass. And it really was a problem. Like, I'm not going to lie. It was a real problem. And like people tried to fix it by, being polite and just not asking and shit like that. But it created new problems. And I don't think people noticed some of those new problems, which is a problem.
Yeah. But
You
yeah.
think we're doing good. What is it? The road to hell is paved on good intentions.
Oh yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, because I don't think anybody like intentionally tried to like do that so that pedos could secretly fucking garner more fucking kids on the role playing game. I was there for the whole fucking societal shift in game and shit like that. Like out of characterly, so like I know how the community got that way. It
Yeah,
wasn't some weird conspiracy or anything, but it did end up getting taken advantage of. So, just
that
be
is true.
careful when you guys find your fixes that you pay attention to what happens afterwards. There might be some new kinks in those cords after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's pedos are going to be a thing. That's the unfortunate thing. Even whenever we do the ultimate purging with the wood chippers, they're still going to happen. It's a mental disorder, and they're going to find ways to do it. I mean, that's just the terrible truth of it. And we can't. The problem with the society and culture that we have right now is that people don't want to actually deal with the problems. What they want to do is assume that they can just, let this.
Well, they feel like that's the civilized way. The civilized way of doing it is to just put it out of sight and pretend that you're
Meanwhile,
turning.
children are being harmed because you don't want to deal with the problem, and that's just not okay to me in the slightest. Like some fucking times life is fucking difficult. Like that is just the truth of it, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. That's how we are supposed to be. That's what makes life. Dealing with difficult situations. If everything was just handed to us, we would be absolutely fucking miserable. But people just, I mean, we already are miserable. And I believe strongly that that is the reasoning why. I think we have to face the evils of the world, and that is not going to be an easy thing, but
Yeah.
we have to.
Also, special shout out to those of you who are part of those like groups that go into groups and like root out these people. Um, hint of advice, like I know that there's some of them that just like flash report them. Don't do that. Fucking dox them. Don't just report them. It doesn't get rid of them. But still, kudos for going out there and trying to find these fuckers and rooting them out and everything.
Yeah,
Keep up the good work. I know that there have been people out there doing that for fucking ever, and we need more of them.
yeah,
I can't think of anything else that would help us fight them because I mean, like going to Blizzard. I mean, unless we came together and made a huge noise and like forced Blizzard to like reckon upon us, but they're not gonna do that. They're so far up China's ass. It doesn't even matter. Just cut them out. There's nothing that Blizzard makes that you can't find somewhere else, anyways. And we're spending too much of our lives playing these fucking video games, anyways. I sound like a fucking old person.
yeah. We both do at this point, honestly.
Fucking kids in these video games. No, just kidding. It's like I like games, but it's true. Like they do sink your time
Oh yeah,
hardcore. So just don't let them have too much of you, I guess. And did you have anything left to say?
just just fucking deal with life. Like, yeah, you had a bad day yesterday. That's kind of the fucking point. You're gonna have a good day eventually, and you have to have something to contrast that with. That way, you actually know it's a good fucking day.
Ups and downs.
Yeah, there's gonna be ups and downs. Life is fucking difficult. Deal with the difficult situation, and then move on.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, don't walk around. There's a fucking false narrative floating around that, like, someone can, quote, achieve happiness. And there's, like, this false expectation that that's just a place you can be. And then you end up with all these people who are like, well, yesterday was, like, unhappiness. So I guess I haven't achieved happiness yet. And I'm like, well, what about all the times you have? Like, that's what it's actually supposed to be like. The times that you do, I guess.
Yeah,
This got really fucking cheesily wholesome.
yeah. What are you gonna do though?
Also, we got an episode tonight later on. Make sure to tune in. We're gonna be talking about some of the new things and um the new turns and twists and all the weird shootings and junk going on out there. And we're gonna talk about, I mean, all the good PR and bad. Oh, there's been good and bad fucking rallies all week. We're gonna talk about some of those. Um, we've got somebody who was on the ground in California and somebody who's on the ground in Arizona that have a couple of stories to tell that'll be interesting. So I mean, like, and later on this week we're gonna have Sandler for Senate on Wednesday night live. He's in Oklahoma and he's pretty cool. With running with the
He was with us
Libertarian
at the
Party.
Maj.
Yeah, yeah, he was pretty based. We met him at a Maj thing, a Maj like shooting demo shooting demo thing. He was pretty cool. He's not as short as the Todd father.
Yeah,
He's very tall. He's very tall. I
he's
felt intimidated. Just very fucking tall. Yeah, I was
you
the
make him
munchkin
sound
in
like
me.
he's fucking 10 foot, dude. And you're just
Look, I'm 4'11", so like he might as well goddamn be 10 feet.
yeah, you right.
Especially since like we got there and Todd was like only a few inches taller than me, and I was like, "Holy shit, we're like the Liberty Lollipop Guild caucus," and
Yeah,
like
wrong.
I loved that shit. I
Did
expected him to be. I was like, I thought he'd be taller, but like, I'm strangely happy.
yeah, I bet you feel right at home.
I did. I felt like I was back in the Munchkin Kingdom. It was good shit.
Okay, Mike. Anyway, if you guys
Anyway,
liked this video, please like and subscribe. Check us out on Cointree if you want to give us some money. Like we've said before, every single dollar goes directly back into the show and really helps us out.
and into the community and the project too.
Yeah, right now everything that Mike and I do is coming directly out of pocket, like this beautiful library behind me. It's definitely not federal money. It is definitely my money. And if you would like to continue to help me, buy more books and Italian chairs, as well as coffee for our morning show, please send whatever you can. $5 goes a super long way. We had somebody the other day that donated $15, and we were both like losing our mind. Like the possibilities.
We're like, yes, people donated. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, we
Speaking of which,
appreciate it.
we haven't actually done this in a little while. Let me special thank you to our actual subscribers. Y'all are awesome.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. Uh,
Greatly appreciate it.
Now,
And
as if you need more temptation to join our subscribe star, um, you can get liberty-based erotica if you join. I don't know if you guys knew that
yeah,
or not, but it's pretty spicy. It involves
it is.
Ron Paul and Ayn Rand. So
I'm preparing a clip of this particular erotica being read by none other than Dan Taxationist Steph Berman to be posting later to be sharing with you guys because it's just, I mean, it's beautiful.
it's good.
It's absolutely beautiful. It's gonna be a classic.
You think
I'll
so?
probably have to post that on BitChute. I don't know if YouTube's gonna be okay with that. I'll have to give it to you. Either
We'll
way, we'll see you guys this afternoon. Well, this evening. Until then, y'all be safe. Y'all be free. And don't take any nickels or anything like that. This episode of the Mad LiberCOFFEE party break thing is adjourned.
it's the Mad Coffee Party, but okay.